Working. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Nikki, I'm from Gracie's House. I'm a UK-based brand ambassador for Paint Couture. And I'm coming to you today on Facebook. And I should be coming to you live on Instagram as well. So as you come on live, if you can drop me a comment, drop me a hello, let me know where you're watching from. It always fascinates me to see. And I can see people coming on both, so that's brilliant. So hello, this is the piece we're going to be working on today. Morning Erin, my lovely, how are you? This may look a little bit of a mess to you. What do you think? So a few weeks back I was telling you a little story about how I bought a couple of chest of drawers. Sunny, Canada, Erin. And we're supposed to be sunny today, hence how I'm dressed. And it's really, really overcast. And I think Helen's in the house for us on behalf of Paint Couture today. So hello there. And Laurie, good morning. Hi, hi Kelly. Crikey. We don't often get you live, I don't think. You're quite often watching recaps, so this is good. Sent husband, bought a couple of chest of drawers, spoke to the seller and said, definitely pine, because they were listed as pine. Wasn't too sure. Yeah, husband handed the money over, came back, and as soon as he opened the back of the cart, I went, yeah, they're not pine. They are laminate. Brilliant. So, yeah, okay, Erin, you're saying hello to Helen. I'm just going to check the comments. Hi, Patricia. Just going into number 5 lockdown. Oh, Kelly, no. So I decided this one has been in the shed for a little while because I just didn't want to have to deal with it. And the other piece I did the nursery style. So we did the cloudy stripes on the side. So I'm kind of using them as experimentation pieces. So I busted out the Crust and the Embossing Medium. So as we all know, the problem with laminate being a plasticky finish, you would have to prime. And from knowledge from the previous one I did, yes, it worked, but I just felt like I wanted to do something different with this one. So the great thing about the embossing medium, which I'm going to grab for you, the great thing about this is it doesn't need priming before you use it, and you don't have to prime afterwards because it gives you a nice porous finish to work on. So I've got most of it prepared. Hi Nina, I'm going to turn the piece around. I've used a bit of crust down on the bottom. Can you see where it looks thicker? Down here and down here. I've added a couple of trims, so I did that before. That went on last night. I filled the drawer handle holes because one of them had the handle part missing. Hi Patsy. So I decided I was going to do different handles. So I filled them. And I filled them in the embossing medium as well. Once I've painted it, if you can still see those a little bit, I can just go over with a little bit more and hide those holes even further. But I've really done it on quite a rough finish because the embossing medium is great for filling those holes and dips and things as well. So I've done all of this. The only bit that's slightly damp still is maybe the crust down at the bottom. Patricia, you've switched over to Facebook, my lovely. Are you trying to confuse me? I'm not sure. So I'm going to just... Hi Chris, you're watching from Newburgh, New York. I've only got a little bit left, but I'm going to just show you, just so that you know how I got here. Donna, first time here. Excellent, we love a newbie. Are you new to Paint Couture in general or just new to me doing lives? Let me know. And either way, welcome. Patricia, it's no worries, don't worry. Let me just see which brush. There we go. So I'm just putting it on today with a chip brush. So it's just cheap and cheerful one. Sheila, hello from Oklahoma. I'm just going to scoop it out and I'm going to slap it on, and it really is as simple as this. I'm covering everything. You may look like it's a bit patchy, it doesn't matter. New in general, love it. Good, thank you Donna. So have you used any Paint Couture at all yet? Or are you just looking to, have you painted before? Are you looking to switch brands if you're already painting? and you're in Millersburg, Ohio, in the heart of Amish County. Oh, wow. Hi, Renee. Sorry, I missed you coming in. So I'm literally just slapping it on. So who's noticed that I'm like heavily into texture at the moment? I love it. Just also to note, if anyone's watching, sometimes it works, the cross-posting function, sometimes it doesn't. So if anyone's watching on the Gracie's house page, I can't see those comments because I'm live on the Paint Couture page. So just to let you know, on the Facebook, if you're on Gracie's house, I won't be able to see any comments. I'm not ignoring you, it's just physically I can't see you. So yeah, I'm all about the texture right now. And these pieces that I consider, you know, I love to experiment with you guys. These pieces that I consider experimentation pieces, you can kind of discover something really, really interesting. So like I said, you don't need to prime when you're using Embossing Medium or Crust, which is perfect. So we don't have to worry about getting a lovely, perfect primed finish, even though it's not difficult with our gripping primer, but it just means we don't. So you can see how haphazardly I was adding it on there. Sheila, new products. I know, there's all sorts of excitement going on. So I'm going to pop my brush back in my cling film so that they don't go hard, but I will be cleaning them up pretty quickly. A few minutes in, almost 50 people joined us. Yes, it's brilliant that so many people are interested in joining us. And on this one in particular, I'm using the glove method. So anyone that was watching a couple of weeks ago, when we repaired some a leather insert, did I use a glove then or did I use cling film? Either works just as well. Picture, yes, super stoked, loving PC being in, oh yeah, you're really lucky with it in Canada, aren't you? So just to kind of move it about a little bit more, and you know, you can really just play until your heart's content. I've just popped a little glove on, and I just want it to be random. So similarly, you know, a little bit like when we were creating the leather texture, it doesn't matter. I don't really want peaks, but we can, if you do end up with peaks and you don't want them, you can sand them back once it's dry. So this product's really, you know, you can get a random look quite easily, and I'm just kind of dotting my hand about. I don't want any strokes in it though. It's almost like like an Artex sort of random pattern, I suppose. I don't want anything too obvious. I don't want to see my finger marks in it. So I'm kind of just gently going over everything. And I just want to make sure there's, even if it's a thin coating, I want that coating everywhere. So I want it down on the sides of those drawers, because that will give me like a textured primed base, and I want the texture for my paint. So that's how we've achieved this. That's what I did on the whole thing. You did it on the edge of a little table. Chris, I know, I love this stuff. It's brilliant. All this texture, it's really, really fun. Really fun to have a little play with. So they are on casters, these chest of drawers, which is quite handy. So colours we have to work with today. Good, I'm loving that it's inspiring you, Renee. So we have several colours. We've got this one from the CC Remix collection, Elvis Parsely. We have Angel Eyes, just to give it a little bit of sort of subtle shading and things. We have got Spanish Sunrise, pretty sort of pale. It's a dark pale yellow, but it's still a lemony yellow. And then Candlelight, which is just sort of an ivory cream with much more yellow undertones. Those of you that are on Instagram, these are probably showing up a little lighter, and I think that's just down to the age of my camera on the iPad. So I apologise for that. And I was talking about Green Iris a little while ago, and I'm busting that one out as well. So this is one of the metallics, and look how pretty and pearly it is. Love, love, love. So I'm going to start. Elvis Parsely is really going to be the hero for this piece. Morning, Barb. How the devil are you? I've got several brushes. We're not bothered on this piece about, we're not looking for smooth. Hence, you know, we're creating texture. Patsy, you're liking it already. So we don't bother about smooth. You can use a chip brush for this. I've got chip brushes, I've got blue ice brushes, but it really isn't going to matter. The properties, the self-leveling properties that Couture paint has are so incredible. If it wasn't for this texture, even when I've tried to create texture before, just by changing the method in which you apply the paint, it still self-levels. So you don't need to have a fancy brush for this particular style that we're going to go for today. I just want to see, can you see the bottom of the piece? You can there. Instagram guys, I might just have to separate the cameras a bit. I might just tilt that one down ever so slightly so you can see, whoops, but not put my finger, there we go. So you can see the bottom. That's better. So we're going to go in with the Elvis Parsely, which I haven't actually used on a piece. I've used it in my recipes. Oh, Patsy, the metallics are just, I can't even tell you, the metallics are amazing. So if you're familiar with Pearl Jammin', the green iris is basically the green version of that. It's that real pearly prettiness. And quite an unusual metallic. You don't see that kind of metallic in a lot of ranges, and it's I think it's going to really elevate this piece. Wendy, hello. Lovely to see you. So I'm going to start with one of my chip brushes. Yeah. So this is to show you that for this particular technique you don't need a fancy brush. You can use a standard sort of chalk paint brush, or like I'm using here, a chip brush. I'm going to have a different brush for each colour. I'm going to steer clear of my right down in that corner of the crust because I don't think it's 100% dry, and I don't want to be getting that on my brush and then mixing it in. But I know the top piece is pretty much. If you see some texture that you don't like, or you've got peaks from anything, then you can just knock them back with sandpaper. I would recommend probably doing it before you paint, because it's white. So if you sand after you've painted, you're gonna get little white bits. But if you're going to paint over it again, not too much of a problem. I've just seen a question. Julie, what's the difference between embossing medium and a salt texture? So the embossing medium is, let me show you, it's more of a paste. I don't know if you can see that. So it's a bit sort of like a toothpaste thickness maybe. So the embossing medium is smooth. Crust, which I have here also, is even grainier. I'm going to get it right up to the camera so you can see the grain. So it's like there's sand mixed in. It's got a lot of texture. So this is probably, I don't know, maybe more difficult to control. The embossing medium is easier to use through stencils and products like that. But again, I'm using this at the bottom because I'm going to put some other texture and make it look a little bit, I don't know, maybe gardeny, you know, kind of dirty and rusty down there, I think. And the other thing is with a salt type product, what did you say, like a salt texture, it comes in a powder form, which won't have a colour, it won't change the colour of your paint. You can mix these, both the crust and the embossing medium can both be mixed with paint, but you will have your colour slightly lightened because they do have that white colour. So I'm just getting some of this Elvis Parsely down. I mean, the coverage is fab. If you can see, it's got great texture. It's got like a real aged sort of looking texture. I'm just making sure I've not missed anything. I think I've caught all the comments. But what I'm going to do is crack open. We'll get some angel eyes in because this is. I want this to have like almost a painterly feel. I think I had dirty and grungy with salt. You're in love already. Wendy, yeah, you've liked my little demi-lune table that I've posted this week, haven't you? I I'm really, really into texture at the moment. And of course, the other great thing about using textures is if you have got a piece that's damaged, sometimes you've just got to work with what you've got. And like this piece, it's laminate, it's a little bit not particularly straight. And I think you've just got to, instead of trying to make something perfect, I'm all for adding the texture to kind of grunge it up even more. I'm just going to grab one of these, and I'm not sure how these two are going to look together, but I kind of feel like this is going to be at the base, and then the green's going to come up, and then we're going to have yellow, and then we're leading into the candlelight at the top. So it's got almost like a dipped effect, but it's going to be relatively random. So I know that we talk about blending, and I've shown several different techniques and ways of blending. This is another way. I'm all about the dabbing, and I'm quite often about you'll hear me talk about a cloudy blend. Because of the texture, this is a really, really good way to get your blending going. So I've added these little redesign with Prima molds. Don't ask me what the names of them are, I can't remember. But they're on there. And I just want to build colour up. So with these dabbing motions, you can have both on the go at the same time. If you feel like you've got a bit heavy with the angel eyes, you just go in with the green again. It sounds more versatile. Or have we got another attack of the autocorrect? Oh, honestly, Messenger autocorrects me so much. And I'm too quick, and I'm too quick to press the send button, and then it's just terrible. So let me know. Wendy, they're pretty moulds, ones with the flowers. Yeah, there's so many of them, all quite different, but quite, you know, lots of different ones. I'm not very good at remembering all of them. So you see where we've just started adding that angel eyes, and just doing the dabbing, because we're creating texture, it's got more of a, like I said, like a more of a painterly kind of feel. Hi Shelley. And let me just fill this crust down here. Yeah, see, that's still a bit wet. I can do a little bit down there, but I don't want to go too far onto that wet bit. But you see where I just want to darken it a little bit down there, and then have that feed up into, and I want it up onto the edges of my drawers, and it just gives it some depth. I may use some other waxes to go in there a little bit more, but I like to create as much as I can with paints first. There we go. Hi Lois, is that Lois? Sorry, Lois, I think, sorry. So I'm going to get some more of the green down. So like I said, the green is going to be more of the star of the show. And we're going to see now how well I've hidden the drawer holes. One of them I can see just popping through. I may or may not add some transfers to this to continue the spring feel. And I might give you a teaser of the handles that I've picked as well. You know me, I've got a little stash of some interesting knobs and handles. And it was sort of the knob choice actually, that steered me in the direction that I've gone to with the colours, because they just made me feel all spring-like, which is good. I know we're in the summer now, but spring is just makes you feel like summer's on its way, doesn't it? So I'm really getting into all those nooks and crannies. I might have to get on the floor to get upwards into the nooks and crannies of my mould, but I don't mind. I put a little bit of the Embossing Medium over those moulds as well, just so it had that crusty finish. I might go a bit higher over this side with my angel eyes. I just want it to be quite random and quite organic in feel. And you can still, you know, you still have to move relatively quickly with this technique. Lotus, lovely. And I might just put a little bit of random. But because we're not worried about creating that super smooth finish, you know, you can be a little bit more patient and take a step back, keep looking, because you can just keep adding. That's really pretty. And actually the mixture between the Angel Eyes and the Elvis Parsely, let's turn it around so you can see what both I'm using. The Angel Eyes, where they're blending together, it's creating a really nice sort of cloudy watercolour look. I'm really trying not to sit on the floor lately, but I feel like I need to get down here. Because I'm loving the mixture of these two colours going on here. Really, really pretty. I'm going to pop my paint pots down here so I don't have to stretch up. And I've even forgotten which brush was going in which pot now, because I've mixed them up so much. So obviously I'm painting this with the drawers in, and I often get questioned when I do this. If I'm doing a one colour finish, I will have all the drawers out, and of course I will be painting the edges of the drawers and the tops of the drawers. When I'm painting a look like this, where I need to see how everything's going to pull together, and I want to make sure that the blends are happening uniform, that's why I paint with the drawers in, and then later on I'll go in and I can finish those off. Lois, you can't stay, but you wanted to pop in and say good morning. Hello. Good, good, good. Thank you for doing that. And I'll see you again on replay. So, like I said, I'm going to go up higher with the Angel Eyes on this side. I think I'm going to go up that high. I'm not going to go too far around the corner because this was the side that we've just done, and that's all still wet. The embossing medium is still wet. It does have a really watercolour feeling quality about it, which I'm absolutely loving. So I'm pleased. What do you guys think of these colours so far? I'm quite excited to add the yellow in as well. We're going to be putting the yellow in soon. I'm just going to put it so that doesn't blob up too much. So I've even put my embossing medium, a thin coat on the top there of my drawer, that edge, because I don't want to, I want my paint to stick, and I don't want to have to prime and use another different product as well. I was tempted to get Kale Sprout out, but when I put all the colours together, it started looking not so spring-like. So that will have to wait for another project, I think. Okay, just go in here. Really pretty. I'm just going to take a little, yeah, go a bit further over here with the blue, not blue. The Angel Eyes, it's blue. Compared to Elvis Parsely, it looks very blue. Chris, they do look awesome, don't they? Chandra, yes, I'm really pleased so far. I think it's, I'll be honest, it's a very rough plan in my head on this one. And like I said, a lot of my lives, I like to experiment before I go ahead with something, just so that, you know, something embarrassing doesn't happen and it really doesn't work. You know. I know how the embossing medium works, and I'm not bad with colours, so I kind of haven't had any experimentation with this exact look or anything. So I've gone in a little bit more blind than I normally would do. Thank goodness. It all looks good. We've got a little hair coming in there. Just a little hair. I'm going to have to get my finger in there. There we go. That's the problem with chip brushes. Okay, let's just get a little bit of blending going through here. Blend those out. Like I said, we'll get the yellow out in a little while. Pretty. Oh, Josie, your kitchen is almost the same colour. Which one? The minty green, which is the Elvis Parsely. Hello from Italy as well. I didn't miss you. I saw you there right at the top on my comments. So like I said, once this is all dry, I'll come back and I'll just pull those drawers out and do the top edges and the sides. And then we'll get the yellow. So we're going to get the Spanish Sunrise out next. And again, we're just keeping it random, the way we're going to add the colours in. Let me get my lids down there, because we're going to carry on. Let's get the yellow out. So the next colour, the mint green, lovely, is the Spanish Sunrise that we're going to use. So there's two sort of proper yellows in the Paint Couture range. There's this one in lemon peel, and I just felt with this, even the Elvis Parsely being the minty sort of green colour that we've got, it's still quite subtle, and I felt that the lemon peel was just going to be a little bit too punchy for this one. So I think the Spanish Sunrise is going to be perfect for what we're working with, and I think this is going to blend nicely into Elvis as well. Get that lid off. Another brush. What brush should we get now? What are we using? Let's get that one. So the Blue Eyes brushes that I'm using today are the 1.5 inch ovals. Josie, your daughter does some painting on furniture. Lovely. So you're watching on her behalf, are you? Oh, look at that. It's going to look great. It is going to look great. I think this is the combination of the Spanish Sunrise and Elvis here is going to be really, really cool. And I think they're going to blend out nicely together as well. I think. Yeah. Definitely got a watercolour kind of feel. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. I'm not actually painting in strokes though, I just wanted to get the paint into those corners. That's the easiest way to get them in there. And then put our texture in afterwards. Oh, it's pretty. What do you think, guys? It looks, Josie, thank you. I'm really, really pleased at this. It's definitely got that dip dye watercolour. Quality. Definitely very springtime. We're only a little way out of spring, it feels. So notice I'm just going back and being really, really light and gentle with adding in more of the Elvis Parsely. It's bringing a little bit of the yellow through, the Spanish Sunrise, it's bringing it through. I like that. I'm not gonna try and change that. Oops, that was the wrong brush though. It's got, like I said, I've got some of my Spanish Sunrise on my Elvis brush. I don't mind too much when it kind of just brings a little bit through here. I quite like that. It is a summery, yeah, springy summer. It's just happy, isn't it? It's definitely got a happy vibe. I almost went for bumblebee knobs, but I've only got 4. So you wait till I show you the little knobs that I've got. I'm going to paint over my keyhole as well, and then afterwards I'll put some dark on the inside to obviously, because there is no keyhole there, that's a fakey little mould, and then I'll probably highlight it with some metallics or waxes, or haven't really 100% decided on what's going to happen there. Sometimes I like to add these elements and then let them develop and just see. I think I've got another little chip brush hair there. I can't get it off. It does not want to come off. There we go. There we go. Right, I feel like I need a little bit more blend through here. I'm going to go a bit more in with my Elvis, and then I'm going to come back down. That's better. Yeah, that's better. What's that? Something's come off there. I don't know what that is. Something else sitting in my paint. Like a summery boho look. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Get some on here. Oh, these drawers, because they're just on those silly flat pack type runners, they do jiggle about a bit. I'm going to bring my yellow over here. I think I'm going to bring my green over a little bit more. I want to come up higher with my Elvis. I am going to use the candlelight, but I kind of want it to be mostly on the top and just a little bit dipping down. I don't want that to take over. I want this to be about colour rather than neutrals. And that's, you know, compared to the rest of it, that's my neutral here. But you could equally do this effect, and I probably will sometime in the future, with like blacks and greys would look phenomenal. And you know, I always talk about my cloudy blend. You know, with those colours, I think this effect and this technique would look really, really good. Yeah. So I'm just going to put a little bit more of my angel eyes here to finish off this blend. Nice. And let's see, I'm probably going to leave that there. Just making sure I've not got any missing. I'm sure Helen's there catching anything I miss anyway. So we're just, you know, you can see how I'm working this. I'm just working between the 3 brushes that I have at the moment for this Spanish Sunrise and for Elvis Parsely, and then the Angel Eyes. We've pretty much finished working with Angel Eyes now for the moment because he's down here. And I just keep switching between the 2 until I'm happy with how that sort of transition works. But like on a lot of blending, you know, you don't want to see too much. You don't want to see a line. You want to see a little bit of transition. But the great thing with this is we're going for texture, and so it doesn't matter too much. You're not going to have a solid line doing it like this, but you know, you'll see. Just get around the corners of that. Probably need a smaller brush to get around those corners and edges. But yeah, you're not going to see. Oh, I can just see another little brush mark. Not brush mark. Thing from my chip brush. A hair from my chip brush. I'm just going to move over this side instead of stretching over. How are we going? Good. And of course, you know, you can build up layers. This is just our first layer. It might need a little bit more work, but I don't actually think it's going to need a great deal. There might be a few little touch-ups to do. But you know, we're sort of using, we're not using so much paint that it's dripping everywhere, but we're using a substantial amount of paint. It doesn't have to go on thin with this technique. You just don't want to put it on so thick that you get those drips. I'm going to just go over that with my Spanish Sunrise because, as I said, I will decide at a later date how I'm going to highlight that. And as I did this piece down here, there's a tiny little bit of embossing paste because I didn't want to have all loads of texture everywhere else and then these really, really bright, clean, fresh, smooth moulds. So they had a little bit of embossing medium, added to those. Get through there. We don't want to fill up all these, you know, there's quite a lot of grooves and things. We don't want to fill those up with paint. I made sure that I didn't fill those up with my texture either. That wasn't the aim. So I'm just going to go around the edge of that drawer. So I did very, very minimal texture on the drawer sides, just so that we had enough to prime it. It's looking cool. Good, Erin, I'm glad you think so. It's sweet, isn't it? I'm really, really pleased how the colours have come together. Really cute. Just go back in there. So, like I said, the only reason I didn't do the sides of those drawers is because we just put all that texture on there and it's all still wet. So I'm just leaving that be for now. Let's just get that on there and then go back and add our texture. I've obviously gone in a little bit heavy on the paint there. There we go. And that's the great thing is because again we're not looking for a really smooth finish. You can go in and you know there was just a little bit of paint that started to pool in that groove, so I've just gone back in. And if you were looking at that smooth texture, you'd have had to refinish all of that. Let me see. will I be glazing this piece? I don't know actually, is the answer to that. I think I'm going to be adding, add some transfers or stamps. So it depends how I'm getting on, how they look, whether I feel like I'm going to need to. But you could, I mean, it would look fantastic if I didn't have those plans, because all the glaze would sit into all of these textures. But on this particular piece, I don't want to dull down anything on this. And I think glaze would probably dull it down a little bit too much for the idea I've got in my head. Oh, I'm gonna get my stool back now. You could do, oh, I tell you what would look nice. Oh, you could do champagne glaze. That would look rather marvellous. And that wouldn't dull anything down, but it would give me a shimmer. Oh, maybe I'll do that. Maybe. Okay. And of course I've come over here and I can see some bits in a different angle that I've missed. So I'll just touch those up. Okay, let's have a look. I'm gonna get out Candlelight. So if you held up this to a white, glaze with shimmer, yes. If you held this up to a white, it would not look white. If you put this next to these colours we're working with, it looks quite sort of vintage and creamy. But standalone, it's got quite yellowness to it. So this is Candlelight. First time using this colour actually, but I thought it would sit back really nicely. See, it's a very creamy, if I show you against the yellow, it looks quite cream, but if you show you against a clean white lid, it starts looking quite ivory, yellowy ivory. So it's one of those colours that's a bit unusual like that. Let's get another brush and get this one. Those of you that have not forgotten, I haven't started with the, I haven't put any green iris in yet. So let's get this done, because I'm looking at the time. I'm going to get this on as quickly as I can, and then I'm going to go back and use the texture, because it's got the texture already from my medium this morning that I applied. But I don't want, I want it to be very random. You know what I can see? I can see brush filaments. I can see hairs from my brush stuck in it, which I couldn't see before. Which is a bit annoying. I can pick those out. Do that later, let's get it on. How's that looking on the top? And then I'll move some colour up here as well. I quite like that actually. It's definitely got a dip-dyed feeling to it. I'm going to bring it down a little bit here, I think is the thing to do. Actually put it onto this corner. And then I can take some of the yellow up if I need to. Sorry if my head's in the way there, wasn't. That's cute. How's that look? I look on the camera because I can stand back. Yeah, I think it gives it a nice balance having this on the top. Quite like that. And the great thing is, you know, like we say, this paint, it's always going to do what it wants to do with regards to the self-leveling. So even though at the moment it looks like, oh yeah, you can't, there's no brush strokes. You can't see it. I'm working so quickly. And as it dries, it will dry into that texture and self-level out any brush strokes that you might have. For doing big surfaces like this, the oval medium, this is the longer one. So the filaments are slightly longer. This is great for big surfaces. Amanda, you think it looks lovely? I'm so glad. So glad. I think it looks lovely. I'm pleased. And I actually really love this Candlelight colour. Okay, let's quickly get this on. Let's see where we might want some colour. Let me just stand back a bit. hold on a second, guys. Okay, I have to go down on my knees again. I might actually just have a tiny bit of the green kind of coming up onto this corner, which I think will look cute. Make sure I've not got a drippy edge, that front edge. Put a lot of paint on. And actually I quite like it just coming down with a little bit of yellow there. Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, I like that. Pretty. Okay, make sure I put those down in the right place. Okay, that's cute. Let's get green iris. Cute. Yummy. I am going to stir this one again, so I do my best to stir everything before I come online, so that I haven't got to take time, but the metallics particularly have the pigments that can settle. So let's have a little look. Some of them seem to do it more than others, but there's so much colour going on in these little pots of gorgeousness that, yeah. So let me show you the stick. Can you see that clump? That's the pigments. That's not bad. That's not a bad thing. You just want to get them dispersed through the whole pot, and that's what settles. But that's there is so much pigment in these all of the colours, but particularly the metallics, and it can just settle a little. So you just want to, if you can, just scrape around everywhere. There we go. See? Oh, look how pearly and gorgeous that is. Lovely. Right. Now, I feel like I'm going to dab this around a little bit. I'm not going to go up into the candlelight and into the lemon, into the Spanish sunrise, but I feel it belongs down here. I'm just going to pop a little bit. Let's just feel. Oh, that's dry now. And just finish off this corner with our angel eyes, and that's all our crust. So the crust has just got a little bit more texture, as I said, than the embossing medium. So I may want to sand that back a little bit. It may end up being a bit too much texture. And I've got a zebra brush now, little round one. Not sure what size that is. Maybe a 1 inch round, something like that. I'm gonna get a piece of paper towel just in case. What I don't want to do, I want to build this up. I don't want to go in all crazy and find that it's filled like it's too much. And of course it will dry lighter. Everything else has started drying. Oh, that's pretty. So we are mixing it a little bit into the Elvis as well. I'm going to bring it down here where I've got my crustiness as well. Go a bit heavier down here, but it will bring shimmer to these colours. And a pearliness. I might have to wait for that to dry off a little bit more. So I've only just put my paint in there, haven't I? Let's try over this side. Josie, you liking the look? Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it. Really pleased. Just step in front there, sorry. I'm going to go down here because this is a bit more dry. Whoops, dripping paint everywhere. And I'm going to come over and pop it over the top of my moulds as well, just to give a little bit of shimmer there. And you know, at this stage you can really just start building up your layers. You could, you know, you might be happy and leave it there, but you could come in, wait for this all to dry, and come in and add some more depth. This is really, you know, you can go crazy now. I feel like it's gone too high up there. I've put too much on my brush. That's better. Just needed softening a little bit there. That's better. And you probably can't actually see, but you can already start to see the pearl, and as everything else dries, obviously the pearl's going to look more obvious. Okay, so let me show you the little handles that I've got for this one. Da, 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 da. How cute are they going to look? Little daisies. How cute are they going to look? I'm so excited to be using these ones on this. Yeah, give us some hearts for the daisy knobs. I know. So you can see where I've gone with this. Perfect. Judy, aren't they? They're so cute. So I didn't want to go overboard with the moulds. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is still just an MDF. Aren't they cute, Patsy? This is still just an MDF, probably some kind of flat pack. It's heavy as hell. But, so we've gone, you know, just a little keyhole and those little bits down there. We've done embossing medium to create texture, but also give us that, that primed finish, texture and prime. And then crust on the bottom, which we're going to build on once this is all dry. So I'm really, really pleased how this has gone. It's a much more painterly finish, and that's why I wanted to go with it, with the texture. Patsy, you've got more knobs than shoes. I think I have. Dutch Tulips, loving those handles. Aren't they the sweetest? Hello, I can't see the name. Moomal Exports, Mummel, sorry. So we used embossing medium. We used Crust. We have used Elvis Parsely, Angel Eyes, Spanish Sunrise, Candlelight, and Green Iris. I've used a number of different brushes, but with this, it doesn't matter. We're going for texture. So just use what you've got. Obviously, you can use nice brushes. I've used my lovely blue ice brushes. I've used my lovely zebra brush. But you can see that it was just as easy to get the paint on for this than with a chip brush as it was, you know, those lovely brushes. And let's have a look. Valerie, you like the daisy. You love the wall. What is it? Brick or paper? It's wallpaper. My wall is wallpaper. So this is, it's just about 8, no, it's not even 8 foot. It's probably about 5.5 to 6 foot wide. That's it. It's just a couple of panels of MDF that I wallpapered, and that's my staging wall. So I hope you've enjoyed today. If you haven't already, I'm sure most of you have, pop over and show some love to Gracie's house. If you haven't already, join the Paint Couture Showcase group on Facebook. It's really, really great for lots of people sharing their pieces. And if Paint Couture see something they particularly like, they will share it to their page as well. Erin, you're super excited to see how it gets finished off. Stamps, stencil, who knows? Who knows where my brain's going with this? There is links in the description on Facebook. Those of you on Instagram, I'll add them after I've posted up to IGTV. But the links on the Facebook post is to find yourself a retailer in both the UK and the US and Canada, Erin. Don't forget Canada. Thanks for joining me. Next week, you'll have me twice because I'm on holiday for a few weeks after that. So you're going to get an extra one before I go away, and then you'll get 2 weeks of extra ones when I get back. How's that? I've just got to plan everything to show you now. Valerie, I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys. Cheers for joining. Bye.